This last weekend, I did the Bataan Memorial Death March. That's right. This was a very new experience for me in a couple of ways, given that it took me about 6 years after taking interest to finally do it. I must say it was a very rewarding experience. So here we have a little bit of some background, or it's actually the memorial for the Bataan Death March, which took place during the Second World War in April of 1942. Where you had thousands of American and Filipino soldiers taken captive by being prisoners of war by the Japanese as they moved in to secure the territory over the Bataan Peninsula, hence the name. So if I go into maps here, there so would have been in this area, which was a total of about 65 miles. As everybody who participates and honors the hardships and, in many cases, death that they went through, many of us went ahead and signed up for it down in the White Sands Missile Range next to Las Cruces, New Mexico. So each of us who participated were given these extra bibs that we wore on the back. So this was mine. I've actually was looking up a little bit. Each one of them, some of them has a page. Sergeant Timothy Stalter here. So I was reading a little bit about his, and so I have that here. So I was classified under the individual military heavy male. Of course, with that, I needed a pack. This was what I went with here, and this is an assault pack. I believe it's a Molly. The problem is that it does not have a frame. As it turns out, it's more of a backpack than it is a ruck. But let's go over a little bit with the story that we went through. All right, so we now road tripping our way down south on I-25. Here are the beautiful mountains. This is Joe, who is my personal chauffeur. I spent quite a lot of time weighing out a lot of things last night. Hopefully, we are about as close to 35 pounds as we can get. White Sands National Park. It's not snow, friends. All right, so after a very, 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 very long day of traveling south, we have finally made it to Las Cruces here at the Ramadao Wyndham Conference Center and Hotel. So you can see my beautiful view here of the indoor pool. Very nice lobby, by the way, if you ever come down and make it down here. So we made our way to Santa Fe and had a nice, beautiful little lunch there, as well as stopping at REI, where I was able to get this guy replaced, as it did not come with the secondary tube. So I also triple checked and spent some time here, and we also went to get packet pickup, whereas the White Sands base is quite annoying with all of their cones and concrete barriers not giving us directions. So we got the sick ass shirt here. Look, check that out. Oh, beautiful. And yeah, it's about 7 p.m. here now, and honestly, the fact that we have to get up at about 3:30 tells me that I am ready to get on with this beautiful sleep. But first, this nice pasta dinner. Okay, we finally made it. Morning of. It is about 5:10 a.m. We are marching our way as we finally completed through all the traffic towards the start line, where we're going to be waiting a lot longer. Let me make a note that there were a lot of people there. I think they said there was around 6,000 marchers, something crazy like that. At this point, what I was actually doing was looking for old friends in the crowd who I believed were in the same category as us. Before the march started, we actually were not able to locate anybody, but that's okay. So at this point, we have the opening ceremony, which is quite nice. I didn't film any of it because there was a lot of reverence, and I did not want to film that part in particular. We had the Filipino national anthem and the U.S. national anthem, which was very nice, in honor of casualties from both nations. And then they started releasing us pretty much right here, you see at sunrise, by a category. And so that meant that it was about like the last category was like waiting for about up to 5-10 minutes before they actually went. So I don't know how their time got started, but that's that. So I was running with these two and walking with these two LT friends of mine, pretty much the first half mile or so. So as we were getting going. We're not running yet though. Begin in a second. Yeah, we are. Okay, there we go. And we'll start our run. Good morning. So we have now been on the trail for about an hour and a half, and we are next couple of minutes going to be reaching our 25% the way there point. Realized that there's water leaking out of the bladder that I got replaced at REI yesterday, so I'm probably gonna have to get that replaced a third time. I have to ensure that I'm still at 35 pounds by the end of this. So I'm really only taking water and snacks from the stops that they have. We have reached mile number 7. Let's check that out. Oh yeah. So far, I've been kind of like jogging for about 2 to 3 minutes at a time, and then walking for another 10 or so, and that rinse and repeat the last half an hour. However, I've been picking up the pace, but got to make sure about the halfway point we can kind of see where my energy is. We're supposed to do the mountain this year, which is that guy, I believe, one of these mountains. So instead, we get the sand pit. So yeah, catch you at probably about the halfway point, honestly. Checking how we're doing. All right, stay safe out there. All right, so we are now approaching or near approaching the halfway point, and I'm feeling pretty okay. I was actually kind of hurting between mile 11 and now, and then after a couple of water breaks and squatting down and stretching a bit, feeling quite okay now. My two friends definitely caught up with me and seemingly passed me. As a reference, this is the thinness of the crowd that we were expecting. We just hit mile 13, which means that over this next hill should be the one halfway point, and then I just got to do that again. Easy peasy. So definitely just try to run up to the top of this little dune. Whew, all right, just got to do that one more time. Welcome to mile 17, where I just took a rest. We're not quite 3/4 of the way there yet, but last hour was a little challenging. I imagine from here on out, it's going to be a lot of hurt. Right now, I'm just jogging on and off, as it actually eases me quite a bit to be jogging and not on the walking stage, but we'll see how it goes. All right. Oh boy, that's going to be hard. Here we go. We're here, almost there. So that back there behind me is probably the last really, really big rest stop for quite a while. Like I said, I just took about a 15-minute rest and stretched everything out. So basically from here on out, we got 6 miles left. We are well over 3/4 of the way done. Now, since the 17-mile marker, that stretch from there was actually not as bad as a little bit before it. I guess I started eating the potassium from the bananas, and that really helped a lot. But I did slow down a bit in the sense that the walking was not as painful. So, funnily enough, based on the map, if you take a look at it, now on a completely new route. So, whenever we did the lap the first time, we actually weren't familiar with that spot. But now, here we are, completely new terrain. Wish me the best of luck. Mile 21, yay! All right, so ankles are starting to flare up and fire up again. So that's been difficult, but you see I'm starting to lose my focus a bit. But hey, 5 miles left. Here we are, mile 22. So the truth is we're really about 6 hours and 15-ish minutes in. So with that said, I should expect a time definitely in the 7s. Don't think we're getting below 7. Feeling pretty good. So long as it's mostly downhill, we are slowly making our way to the base. I realize that working backwards is kind of helpful, but I don't know if it helps that much. Works different muscles, but mile 23. That means we have just over 3 miles left, which is significant because I feel like it wasn't that long ago where I was at the 20-mile marker. So that muscle that springs the foot up has been bugging me for a long period of time, but it comes off and on. So hopefully this last stretch will be pretty doable. So we're already to base, basically. The question is, how about that finish line? You can see the finish line taunting us over there. You see them finishing up as people are hobbling along. There it is, 25. We're so close.
Yeah, by this point I think I'm realizing that it's like, as much as I did hurt before, I could have jogged a little bit more. Yeah, I didn't realize that my camera was facing to the ground the whole time.
Come on. Oh, my dogs are on fire.
And by this point, there's a lot of twists and turns in the trail towards the finish line. There it is. Oh my gosh, good job, Max.
See the time there?
You can see the time is 7:27.
And Maxwell Dubnik.
And they announced my name, so that's pretty cool. I had a friend snap these photos here, and I could also find the photos online. The lady's putting this medal on me as I finish. And we are done with Bataan Death March. Memorial Death March, that is.
My bag made it. Oops, I'm stepping on it. Right here. 36, despite the
Camelback leaking. So yeah, let's go catch up with some friends. I guess you can't see it. Recovery is 4 days. That is very significant. So I'm trying to get a group together for photo, but who knows if that's going to happen. All right. I ended up burning about 3,500 calories, which is great, over the whole thing. We have race results. I got 51st place in my category. This is 458 participants with 355 finishers, and it looks like my time was way better than average, so that's pretty good. At that point, went out to eat at Buffalo Wild Wings and Dairy Queen. We saw a lot of people around town barely limping, and we could tell, yeah, you just finished as well. And so then the next day, we just made our way back up, found a border control checkpoint, which was interesting. I guess coming north, since we're an hour away from Mexico. For training, what I ended up doing was doing a lot of morning runs during the week that were only about half an hour, sometimes with the weight, sometimes without. If I was on the weight, of course, I had to be in my uniform pants because the resistance and breaking in my boots. On the weekends, I would do a much longer one. I did not train as much as I needed to. The longest that I would do at a time on the weekends, especially leading up to it, was around 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So yeah, which is about 10 miles. So if you're actually going to do this, I would recommend up to about 15 miles or so. You don't train for a marathon by doing a marathon. You should, of course, be like pushing yourself. You're not injuring yourself. Fortunately, I did not break any skin. All right, so if you're going to do this yourself, here are my recommendations. This is the part that you probably want to get to. Number 1, register early. It gets really expensive as time goes on. I think I even paid $120 even at the earliest. Number 2, do not let your friend pin on your bib when it punctured the thing. No, it's okay, Joe. You did a great job. I didn't tell you that the bladder was in there. This assault pack, oh, it's still pretty heavy. This is the waist strap, okay? If you're going to get a ruck, do one that actually pads the hips. Fortunately for me, I thought of that ahead of time. So I got this exercise belt. So this thing, I clipped the actual, you see how thick this thing is here. I actually clipped the ruck or the backpack, straps through this, and this is the actual weight that was put on. There were points along the trek where I was able to just completely take it off my shoulders and have all the weight on the hips. So worth it, totally there. Pack your own snacks, but remember, if you're doing weighted, if you're gonna consume it, it has to be 35 in the end. Sunscreen, obviously. This is a charger for the phone. Because I was often playing stuff pretty frequently. A heated environment will drain the phone battery, and this is just for any kind of first aid kit. Moleskin is very good as well. The majority of my weight was actually put into this plate thing. Pretty good shape because I was able to put the weight very high up and very close to my back, and that is a needed factor whenever you are rucking. Have the weight high and close to your back. To help that happen, I put a lot of cushioned weight on the bottom. It didn't serve any function except to keep this weight up high. And for that, I utilized one of these plain pillow things. And so I smushed this down. It's kind of... Last thing that I recommend having are these nylon socks. These are actually not quite nylon, but they are kind of thin socks, as you can see. I put those over my foot first. And then after that, put on these beautiful Fox River OCP socks. These are the softest one that they have, and that helps with the friction against the boot. And so these two layers together, I think was actually responsible for why I didn't break any skin. So that was good. In conclusion, and so thanks for watching. This was quite a very rewarding journey there. I don't know if I'll do it again, but if I do, maybe we'll do a follow-up. And of course, it's all to the memory of those who served in our nation and our allied nations as well. All right.